Hey, math buddies! Wherever you are, on your bed, in class, or hiding from homework, I hope your day always shines as beautiful as the night sky. Sure, sometimes the sky looks dark and smoky like someone overcooked their barbecue, but trust me, there's hidden beauty up there. Just climb a mountain, not too high, we don't want no splits, and you'll see. Back in the old days, when air was cleaner and dinosaurs probably weren't around anymore, people could see a sky full of stars every night without needing a NASA telescope. Now imagine this. How do you think ancient people look at the night sky? In awe? Bored? Or just wondering if stars were holes in the universe ceiling? Let's take a trip together and find out. No spacesuits needed. Okay, let's be real for a second. We know a lot about stars, like a lot. Some of them are millions of light years away. No one's ever touched one, unless you count that one kid who thought Venus was a street light. But seriously, how did we even figure all this stuff out? It's not like someone just flew up there with a measuring tape and calculator. And does knowing all this space jazz really change our lives? Like, will understanding black holes help me pass math class or at least find where I left my socks? Now imagine if we never figured out any of it. Would anything actually change? Would we be happier? Or just more confused staring at the sky like, whoa, what is that bright thing? Is it watching me? Well, let's dig into that cosmic mystery. Ever been in math class staring at a trick question like it's ancient alien code and thought, wait, who came up with this stuff? Like, seriously, who woke up one day and said, let's measure angles with sine and cosine? Well, buckle up, because we're going on a time travel ride to meet the math nerds. Geniuses who created trigonometry. Spoiler alert, they were doing it before calculators, Wi-Fi, or even pens with zippers. Alright, first up meet Hipparchus, the OG triangle guy from ancient Greece, chilling somewhere around 160 before Common Era. People call him the father of trigonometry, but like not the scary dad type, more like the nerdy but cool uncle who brings star charts to family dinner. He actually made the first trigonometric table using triangles inside circles. Yes, circle, to figure out where the stars were hanging out in the sky. And get this, he was out here figuring out spherical triangles before Google Maps or even paper maps existed. Next up, Claudius Ptolemy. Picture this, it's 100 Common Era, you're living in Alexandria, Egypt, and you're vibing under Roman rule. What do you do for fun? Well, if you're Ptolemy, you write a banger of book called Almagest. In it, he drops updated sine tables and triangle hacks for stargazing. Sure, he still thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Sweetie, no, but hey, his trick game was so fire that scientists keep using it for centuries. Man was wrong about the solar system but right about the math. Coming in hot from India, it's Aryabhata, basically the trigonometry rock star of the 5th century. This legend said, enough with these clunky old geometry tricks, and invented sign like it was a party trick. He dropped his debut book, Aryabhata, where he flexed his math muscle with pi equal to 3,1416 and used degrees and radians before it was cool. He was out here defining sign when the rest of the world was still figuring out which way was north. Now say salam to Al-Battani, math genius of the 9th century. Born in what's now Syria, this dude was like, chords? Let's use sine, cosine, and tangent instead. Iconic. He wrote Kitab al-Zij, which slapped so hard it got translated into Latin and became an essential banger on every medieval scholar playlist. He basically gave Europe the trick it didn't know it needed. Loki, the plug between ancient math and the Renaissance. Now let's talk about Ulugh Beg, prince, astronomer, and trigonometry perfectionist. He built a giant observatory in Samarkand and said, "I'm not doing approximate tables. I'm doing 8 decimal places or nothing." Like, bro, chill. Thanks to him, trig tables got the glow up they deserved. Precision, 10 out of 10. Vibes, immaculate. And finally, meet Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, Persian mastermind who went, "You know what? Trigonometry deserves its own lane." So he gave us the law of sines for all triangles, not just right angle one. He said goodbye to trig being just a tool for astronomy and made it its own academic boss. Basically, he gave trigonometry a LinkedIn profile and said, "We out here doing things." So yeah, trigonometry isn't some boring set of formulas your teacher threw at you. It's the love child of star chasers, number nerds, and globe-trotting thinkers from Greece to India to Persia to Central Asia. Teamwork made the dream work. Triangle style. Hey guys, have you ever been sitting in math class staring at a trig problem and suddenly thought, who came up with this stuff? Like, seriously? Who wake up one day and thought, let me spend the rest of my life calculating triangle sides and angles for fun? Well, believe it or not, trigonometry didn't just fall out of the sky. Okay, actually, it kinda did, because it all started with astronomy. People in ancient times looked up at the stars and thought, how far is it twinkly thing from here? And since they didn't have telescopes or Google Earth, they had to invent math. Yup. Trigonometry began to be studied systematically during the Hellenistic period. Figures like Hipparchus started creating trigonometric tables and linking them to spherical astronomy. The knowledge later spread to India, thriving especially during the Gupta Empire. Here, the great 6th century scholar Aryabhata introduced sine, cosine, and versine functions. He also compiled incredibly precise sine tables for his time. During the Middle Ages, the Islamic world became the center for trigonometric development. Scholars like Al-Khwarizmi and Abu al-Wafa compiled and expanded the 6 classical trigonometric functions. Trigonometry in the Islamic world became its own discipline, not just a tool for astronomy. They derived formula for both plane and spherical triangles and created highly accurate function tables. Knowledge from India and Greece was translated and further developed. Eventually, these texts were translated into Latin, serving as a crucial bridge that introduced trigonometry to the Western. By the 17th century, trig was ready to hang out with the cool kids. like calculus and complex numbers. Newton, Stirling, and others connected it all. Then came Euler, the math superhero of 18th century. Euler gave us the glorious mind-bending equation, like this one, aka the formula that makes math nerds cry tears of joy. So, trigonometry isn't just a set formulas. It's an intellectual legacy built by Babylonians, Egyptians, Greeks, Indians, Islamic scholars, and modern Western scientists. So, let's talk about trigonometry. And get this, did you know the word sine is actually the result of translation fail? No joke, it started with the Sanskrit word jia, which was translated into Arabic as jaib, meaning pocket or curve. Then someone translated that into Latin and went, oh, jaib must mean sinus, which also means pocket or fold in Latin. And boom, welcome to the word sine, brought to you by ancient Google Translate. Now, why is it called trigonometry? Easy, tri means three and gon means angles. Yeah, it started with triangles, but don't let the name fool you. These days, trigonometry isn't just for triangles. It's everywhere, like in sound waves, computer graphics, and anything that wiggles, rotates, or goes in circles. Sure, it was born in geometry class, but now it hangs out with all the cool math kids, algebra, logarithms, infinite series, and you name it. It even stars in Euler's formula with complex numbers, that one super famous equation that looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, like this. Yeah, that's trigonometry in disguise. And get this, your heartbeat, it follows a sinusoidal pattern, just like the sine graph. So yeah, your body is literally doing trigonometry on its own. Kinda poetic, right? Oh, and trigonometry even shows up in religion. Like in Islam, calculating the Qibla, the direction to Mecca, involves serious trick based on your location on Earth. From the stars above to your beating heart to the way you pray, tricks been everywhere. Okay, when people hear trigonometry, they usually think, here come the confusing formulas again. But what if I told you that trick is actually hiding inside that stuff you use every day? Let's start with Gojek or Grab or whatever rideshare app you love. Ever wonder how the app knows where you and the driver are? That's GPS. And GPS uses a magical little formula called the Haversine formula, which includes sine and cosine to calculate distance on a sphere, aka Earth. So, the next time you're watching that little bike move on the map like it's physics, no, that's trick. You're literally riding the triangle wave. Next up, gaming. Ever played a 2D or 3D game where the character jumps smoothly or rotates like a pro? Yeah, that's trigonometry again. Jumping motion, modeled with the sine curve for that nice smooth arc. Enemies flying in a circle, that's the triangle gang is everywhere. And for all you future programmers, yeah, trigonometry coming for you too. Wanna animate bouncing ball? Make wave effect? Rotate a space in your game? You're gonna need math sine and math cos in JavaScript or Python like your life depends on it. So the next time you think trick who even uses this, just remember, it's in your apps, your games, your code. Trick's not trying to make your life hard. It's secretly running your world. So where do you even start if you want to learn trigonometry without crying? Step 1, triangles. Yep, those good all right angles one. Because all the basic trig functions, sine, cosine, tangent, they all come from the ratios in a right triangle. Classic stuff. Step 2, geometry basics. You've got to understand angles, lengths, and how to measure stuff. Also, get comfy switching between degrees and radians. One is like measuring with a ruler, the other is like measuring with pizza slice. If you're a teacher and you're tired of the blank stare look from students during trig lessons, try this. Take your class outside, find a tree or a flagpole, measure the shadow, use a ruler, bam! You're now using trigonometry to find the height of things. It's math plus detective work equal awesome. Make a simple clinometer with a protractor and string. Let students measure angles of elevation like tiny surveyors. They'll be measuring everything from buildings to birds in on time. Final tip for surviving trig. Focus on sine and cosine first. Once you get those two, the others like tangent, secant, cosecant, they're just dramatic relatives. It's like a trig family tree. And please, don't just memorize the formulas. Visualize them. Use graphic apps, simulator, interactive animations, whatever works for you. So next time someone says, when am I ever gonna use trigonometry in real life? Just look around. If you've got a phone, a game console, or a computer, or a heart that's beating, guess what? You already are. Okay guys, for your information, everything we've talked about comes from these sources. Just so you know. Trigonometry isn't about memorizing formulas. It's about understanding relationships. And the good news is, once you get the basic down, everything else starts to feel a lot easier. Start small, stay consistent, and make learning fun. So that's what we can explore together today. Keep up the spirit. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next great scientist. See you next time for more fascinating topics. Goodbye!